Hello everyone, this video is going to be quite humorous as far as most rants go, because that's what this is. It's going to be a little humorous rant from me, and it's really petty. I'm going to be honest, it's really petty, but I thought it was, good to share because I know it'll make some of you laugh and it'll also make some of y'all's mouths drop at the same time. So we're going to go ahead and do this. The reason for this rant is because I've been scrolling through TikTok and Instagram and YouTube Shorts for the last few days, and my wife and I have both constantly been seeing people, married couples, talking about their wedding and how they had a very beautiful, very cheap wedding. And the lowest number that I saw for a relatively cheap wedding out of all the couples I watched was around 10 grand. And I think the most for the cheap weddings was about 14 grand. If you guys really think that that is a cheap wedding, a beautiful cheap wedding, I think I'm really about to burst your bubble on this one. I wrote down, did the math on and printed out my wife and I's total wedding budget on this sheet of paper. And I'm going to read it off and at the end give you guys the total that my wife and I spent on our wedding. Or the total that was spent, because, we had like most weddings, we had family help us a little bit. So here's everything. So we live in North Georgia, but we got married down where we're both originally from, in Florida. So we flew from Atlanta to Orlando, and the round trip plane tickets were around $400. The marriage license, which in the state of Florida is $86, that's what we paid. Our venue and officiator were completely free. Our officiant is a very close family friend of my wife. He's a pastor and licensed to officiate wedding ceremonies in the state of Florida, and he offered us to use his church and food hall for our wedding ceremony and reception at absolutely no cost. Our wedding rings were also free because both mine and my wife's rings are family heirlooms. Not party favors, wedding photographer, another family friend of my wife, we paid her only $40 for our wedding photos. Our party favors added up total to $72. Our cake, which came from Publix, ironically, as did a lot of cakes from a lot of the couples I've watched lately, came up to $27. The most expensive thing on our wedding budget was the food that we had catered, and that added up to about $500. So, food, most expensive thing, $500. The next we're going to go into my outfit. So my jacket was $90. My tie was $25. My dress slacks were $25. I already had my shoes, so those were no cost. My wife's dress, her wedding dress was $80. Her shoes were $20. Other accessories like her nails and her earrings added up to only $10. And then her bouquet added up to $24. Making the total cost of our wedding $1,399, which if you want to just round up evenly is $1,400. So now you guys tell me, is $11,000 really still a cheap wedding when my wife and I only paid $1,400? If you guys really think 10 grand or 11 grand is a cheap wedding, maybe it is if you're wealthy, but if you're middle class like me and my wife, that's out of reach. So I don't know how y'all did it if you're middle class and that's cheap. You had to have come from very wealthy families. So that's my 2 cents on this, and that's the total my wife and I spent on our wedding. Have a good day, guys. And good luck spending 10 grand on your wedding if you think that's going to be a cheap number.